Hey guys, it's Hannah. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a makeup tutorial kind of on how I get my summer glam look. I've been loving products that feel good on my skin and are lightweight but also give me a little something, and I love glowy makeup. I always have since I have dry skin. So if you want to know how to get this look and kind of see me transform myself, go ahead and keep watching. And if you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe. I am a newer channel and I post lifestyle and beauty content. And I don't want to ramble, so let's go ahead and get into the video. So first I'm going to go in with my moisturizer. Lately I've just been using the e.l.f. Fully Hydration Cream. I have really dry skin even in the summer months, so I need something that's going to hydrate and not feel super greasy. I found this does really well under makeup as well, at least for me. And then this isn't an everyday step. Sometimes I skip this, but I've been loving the Laneige Glowy Makeup Serum. It just gives a really nice radiance to my skin and gives me some glow without being any shine or anything. And you can just use this as a primer as well. I do go in with a gripping primer because I just find that it helps my makeup last longer and not pill or crease, especially with my dry skin. And in the summer months, it'll help to make sure that sweat or oil or anything doesn't take your makeup off. But I love doing this base first, and then I'm gonna go in with my sunscreen. I've been using the Glossier Invisible Shield. Yeah, I like this one because it's clear, so it doesn't leave any white cast, and it hasn't given me any issues or anything with breakout. So that's all the actual skincare, and then I also go in with Aquaphor on my lips. As you can see, that just gives a fresh base for everything I'm going to be laying on top of it. So the next step, and these might be weird steps for some routines, but this is just how I do it. It makes the most sense to me. I go in with the skin prep, I do my primer, and then I start on my eyebrows, usually do my eyes and then my face. So my favorite primer, this has been my favorite for a long time. I used to be obsessed with the Milk Hydro Grip Primer, and then e.l.f. came out with a Power Grip Primer, which is only $10. And in my opinion, this is actually a little stronger than the Milk one, so I've been loving it because I feel like it keeps my makeup on, make sure it doesn't streak or crease or anything, and it lasts all day. Whenever I wear this under any type of makeup or any look I'm doing, it always stays on whether it's full glam or not. So I literally just take a little pump, and the trick with gripping primers is to make sure that you tap into your fingers and then tap into the skin. Rubbing something tacky like this could make the makeup pill because you're rubbing it back and forth into the skin, but tapping it allows it to be an even layer. That's just a trick to use if you find that some gripping primers haven't worked for you. And then this will lay flat and dry in a couple minutes. So while that's drying, I'm going to start on my eyebrows. And I like to do this first because I use a clear brow styling wax like the Anastasia Brow Freeze, and I don't want it picking up any product on my face, so I don't do my foundation or base first. And I just use a plain plastic disposable spoolie like this from Amazon, and I bend the spoolie against the jar like that, and it just gives an easier way to evenly get product onto the spoolie. And then I'm looking down on my mirror, but the way that I do this is I start kind of in the middle of the brow, go upward at a diagonal. I don't go straight up with the hairs because I want it to still look pretty natural even though I'm clearly wearing makeup and clearly setting them down. So as you can see, I'm kind of going at an angle. I'm not going straight up with the hairs, and this just distributes the product evenly, and then I can kind of stick the hairs up at the end as well, and that's what it ends up looking like. I naturally have thick brows, and I just like this look because I feel like it makes them look a little more laminated, a little more alive, and they're kind of going in a natural direction as well. And then sometimes there can be a little bit of the residue or like a white cast, so I'll take another spoolie, clean one, and just kind of go over them. And this doesn't take off any product that's needed, but it'll kind of get any excess off that could be sticking to my skin or anything like that. And on camera, this eyebrow looks way thicker, and my eyebrows never look identical. They're not even sisters. I feel like they're literal cousins because they're totally different no matter what I do to them. So I always just try to kind of make them look as even as possible and call it a day. Yeah, like why on camera does this one look so much bigger? Anyway, that's literally all I do for my brows. Sometimes I'll fill them in if I'm doing more of a glam look, but for this everyday like summer tutorial, I haven't been filling them in unless they're looking extra sparse. And then by that time the primer has dried, so I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my base. For summer, I've been loving lightweight products that feel like nothing on my skin but also give me that really nice glow. I'm so into glowy makeup. I always have been, especially because of my dry skin. I just feel like it helps me look so much more lively. I do not like matte looks. It does not do anything for my skin. It makes me look dull. So these two combinations have been my lifesaver. I honestly don't know if these are going to be the right shade right now because I got really tan at the beach and I haven't worn makeup since. So my face and body are a totally different color right now. But these are the products I've been loving. It's the e.l.f. Halo Glow and then the Rare Beauty Tinted Moisturizer. The Halo Glow you could honestly wear on its own, or you can use it as a primer. You don't even need the other step that I did. I just really enjoy the gripping primer because it helps adhere all the layers I put on my skin a little better, whereas if I just did the Halo Glow and the tinted moisturizer, it'd kind of slip off throughout the day, especially because I don't wear a lot of powder because I don't like to mattify all the glowiness. So I shake this and then it comes with a wand and I literally just do a few swipes onto my skin. And for me, this shade doesn't have to be perfect because I never wear it alone. I always pair it with the tinted moisturizer. It becomes the perfect shade for me and the perfect amount of coverage and everything I'm looking for. This is definitely sheer. And I'm just gonna blend it in with a sponge. The key with this type of look is to tap the sponge in, and you want to have it a little bit damp so it just bounces on the skin. The sponge I'm using right now is the Wet n Wild. I also really love the e.l.f. pink sponges, which is this one right here. They expand a lot underwater and they're super bouncy. They don't absorb a ton of product, so you're not like rock hard or anything like that. And I feel like they just do a really good job at giving an even application. If you want more full coverage off the bat, a brush is definitely the way to go most of the time, but I've been loving a sponge, especially with this combo lately. I feel like it gives that perfect natural look. Skin tint, this one is a little bit more on the yellow side because my Halo Glow is a little more pinky, so this kind of neutralizes it, and I have an olive undertone anyway. This is gonna look really light because I'm definitely tan right now, but we'll see how this turns out. I do a few dots of this. I just apply it directly onto my finger, dab it onto my skin, and then I blend it out. And the combo of these two give the perfect amount of coverage that I'm needing, and then I can always spot conceal or go in with concealer as well. And again, if I want more coverage, I will use a foundation that has more of a glowy or natural finish, but is medium to coverage. But I have been loving this combo lately. And I just make sure to get the hairline, jawline, and along the ears. And once that's an even application, it looks beautiful. You can tell I'm wearing a little bit of something, but it's nothing crazy. And then I'm gonna go in with my concealers. I love the Tarte Shape Tape for more full coverage, spot concealing, and sometimes under my eyes. But lately for summer, I've been loving the lightweight serum-y type feeling. I'm using the creaseless concealer from Tarte actually on my blemishes because this is a little bit of a thicker formula. It's more moisturizing, but it's a little more sticky because I think it has maracuja oil in it, so even though under the eyes it wouldn't crease, I can also apply it to my blemishes and let it sit a couple seconds and it kind of dries down, and I really like what that does for me. So I'm gonna apply that on all my blemishes, and then while that dries, I'm gonna go in under my eyes, and I'm using the NYX Bear With Me concealer. This one is a concealer serum, so it's super lightweight feeling, it's hydrating, and I literally just take a little dot on my finger. I'm gonna do a small amount under my eye and then along where my outer corner is. With this, I do want more targeted coverage, so I'm gonna use a small concealer brush. This is one of the old Sephora ones, and this is the perfect amount of density because it's kind of dome shaped, so it doesn't just spread the concealer around, it actually blends it into my skin without creasing or leaving streaks. It's not too dense to where there's too much product placement or anything like that, but it also does a really good job of blending. I'm also gonna go ahead and go over my eyelid with this because I do have darker eyelids and I like it to all be kind of cohesive, and that way if I go in with eyeshadow or anything, it kind of has something to stick. By this time, it's time to go ahead and blend in the blemish spot, so I'm just gonna tap over top of where the concealer is placed, and it's dried down enough to where it's able to conceal those spots without being dragged around, and it's not too thin of a formula where it just comes off. And as you can see, you can still kind of see them peeking through. I'm fine with that. This is not a full coverage look where I don't want to see anything on my face. I still kind of want you to be able to tell I have a little bit of imperfections, if that makes sense. Now that the base has set in, I absolutely am a huge fan of liquid products. So I love liquid blush. That is one of my favorite things. Liquid and cream. I don't really ever use powder blush. And then I also love cream contour. So the ones I've been loving lately, I switch back and forth between the Glossier Cloud Paint and then the Rare Beauty liquid blushes. I have a bunch of shades of the Rare Beauty one, but I've been loving either Bliss, which is a natural lighter pink shade, or Happy, which is a brighter pink. And then if I go with Glossier, I do Dusk, which is the more neutral brown shade. It has a little more of that terracotta brown color than the Rare Beauty shade. The Rare Beauty are definitely a lot more pigmented and they tend to dry down a little more. I find that the Glossier one shears out. So this was my tried and true for a long time. And if I just want that natural sun-kissed, I've been going for this. I can't decide what I want to do today. I think I want to go with the Glossier one. This packaging is busted, don't mind this. I have a new one too because I love this stuff so much, but this one's busted. I need to use it up. So that's like one dot, and as you can see, I'm gonna use 2 fingers to kind of shear it out a little bit. And all I do is apply this in a couple dots along my cheekbone going upward, and I usually end up going in with more too because this one shears out a lot, and I'm also gonna place it on my nose. As you can see, this is more of that kind of brown terracotta shade. I absolutely love it. It goes super well with my skin tone. Blend it out. I'm going to use this Real Techniques brush. It's the 200 and it's more of a dense brush. I'm going to just tap in the blush going upward. And this one doesn't dry down super fast because it's not super pigmented, so it's okay if I let it sit for a little bit. You don't want to let it sit for too long or it'll start looking patchy, but this is a beautiful blush. It blends out super well. I love the formula, and I always go back and forth between this one and the Rare Beauty depending on the kind of intensity I want for my blush, and you can always build it up as well. But this is just a beautiful everyday look. It gives me that sun-kissed vibe and I love it. And then the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer I have been a huge fan of ever since this came out. It went viral I think when I was working at Ulta still in like 2021, but it's a beautiful formula. It blends super well. It kind of warms up with your finger, so I usually will go in and dip my finger right into the pot. And then with this, the key for me is to place it kind of above where my cheekbone is because it gives more of that lifted look, and you don't want to put too much all the way down your cheekbone. You just kind of want to do a little swipe, maybe like half an inch right here, and then I'm gonna put a couple dots around my forehead. And I don't actually like contour with a cool tone. If you don't know, contouring enhances more of the shadows of your face, so you want it to be a cooler tone, and then a warmer tone such as this one would be a bronzer to just kind of give you that sun-kissed look and give you a little more definition. So in the areas I'm placing it, that's where my powder bronzer goes as well, and I just do a cream and then a powder because the cream lasts a little longer, gives me a little more definition, and then the powder sets it. And I really like bronzer on myself, and I only put it in the jawline spot right where my cheekbone is and above my temple. And I'm gonna be blending it out with this Pro foundation brush from Sephora. This is also an older version, but I love this brush. It's lasted me years, and I use it for my bronzer because it has that kind of domed shape, and I find that I can just disperse the product and blend it in seamlessly with this. Any excess I have, I'm just gonna put at the bridge of my nose right here. I don't do any definitive contour really on my nose. And I hope you can see how it looks so far. Super cute. And then I'm gonna set the bronzer with a powder bronzer. I don't use a powder blush, but I do love this Juvia's Place powder bronzer duo. There's also a blush kit from them that's actually really nice as well that I love. I take a mix of the 2 colors. This one's a warmer tone, this one's a little bit of a cooler. Tap both. I'm using the Morphe M405 brush. This is a perfect bronzer brush, and I'm literally just tapping right over where I see. That's done. I'm gonna go ahead with highlighter. I also love highlight, and I've been loving the Rare Beauty one in Exhilarate. It's this really pretty kind of champagne color, and it's also like a baked formula, so it's gorgeous. There's so much sheen, so much glitter, and this is one of the things I still really like having in powder form. I just feel like it gives me what I'm looking for. A lot of the stick and liquid highlights I've tried just don't give me the same effect. Sometimes I will use the Charlotte Tilbury Glow Wand highlight underneath it and then still top it with this. I just really like the effect that this highlight gives me, but I'm literally just going in with this BH Cosmetic brush. This is 140. I love it because it's not too dense, and I hate the fan brushes. I feel like they don't deposit any product, so I'm just going right on that little top of my cheekbone area and my nose, and then sometimes I'll take it above my eyebrows as well and on my cupid's bow. I use the same shade on the inner corners of my eyes just to keep it cohesive, and I'm using this little brush from Amazon. It's like a little precision brush. This also just pulls together like the whole look for me. As you can see, it just gives me a little something. Even if I'm not wearing eyeshadow, I do this. I'm gonna put a little bit under my eyebrow as well, and then I'm just gonna tap my eyelids with my sponge to make sure my concealer from earlier doesn't crease, and I'm gonna go over them with a tiny bit of powder. I'm using the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter loose powder in butter and a Real Techniques little dome brush. My brushes are dirty, I'm sorry about that. I only take this really on my under eyes and areas where I know I'll crease because I don't like a lot of powder. With my dry skin, it just doesn't work. I don't like the matte look. I'm going over my eyelids a little bit just to make sure it doesn't crease, and then I'm gonna go over that with a little bit of eyeshadow. And I'm just going in around my nose and under my eyes with the powder, and that's about it. And I usually go around my smile lines as well. For my eyes, I don't always wear eyeshadow, and it honestly depends on the look I'm going for, but lately for this kind of summer glam look, I've been going in with the same bronzer in my crease and then using this little Natasha Denona Sunset palette that I got a long time ago when I worked at Sephora, about 3 years ago I think, on sale, and it still works really well. I'm just gonna take this fluffy brush and my bronzer, and I'm gonna pop that in crease. As you can see, that gave a little bit of definition. Let me zoom you in here. And then taking the Sunset palette, I'm gonna go in with the Morphe M433 brush, which is a perfect blending shader brush. I'm gonna take this lighter shade right here in the same spot I did the bronzer. That's just gonna give a little bit of orangey warmness also to the bronzer and a little more definition in the crease. And when I'm blending my crease, I like to press the product in that area and then go a little bit higher than where my natural crease is. I have somewhat of a hooded eye because I am half Asian, but I also do have a defined crease since I'm mixed, so I kind of like to do things and techniques that will bring out and enhance all my features. So that just kind of deepened it up a little bit, and then I am going to go in with this deeper brown shade. I'm going to take that on a Morphe M456 brush, which is just a little more tapered, and I'm going to tap that into my outer corner. And as you can see, as I'm looking down, I'm tapping it in that, and then I'm going to kind of bring it into the crease, but more on the outer thirds area. And this is just going to give a little bit of definition without making it a full-on smoky eye. I used to be really into doing the dark brown all over the lid and then kind of a shimmer popping it on my lid, and it would give that really nice smoky eye cohesive look. And I still do that a lot for like nights out. But for every day, if I am feeling eyeshadow, I'm normally doing something like this, just like a quick neutral eye. And then I can either do a black wing or like a smoky brown liner. What I've been loving lately to do is using brown liner. So I love the NYX Epic Smoky Liner. This is a dual-ended liner that has a brush on one end to kind of smoke out, and then an angled liner which glides on kind of like shadow. And I use this right along my lash line, still keeping it on the upper lid. not in my waterline. And I'm starting at the end and just making small strokes, flicking it for the middle of my eye. And I don't bring it all the way in the inner corner. So I probably stop right about the inner third right here. And it's okay if it's a little bit messy because I end up smoking it a little bit. But I'm gonna flick it out a little bit toward the shadow in the direction that my natural eye shape goes. So lining it up with my bottom lash line, that's gonna create a little bit of a wing. And the great thing about this liner is that it can be built up and it is pigmented, but it also shears out when you smudge it. So I don't like to use the brush it comes with. I'm using actually a angled eyebrow brush, and this has no product on it. I'm actually just running over the liner with it to bring it up a little more and give it some smokiness, and that's what it looks like. And then I'm going to go in my waterline with the cake pencil from KBD Beauty. This stays put, it does not smudge, and I like using the two browns rather than doing a harsh black line sometimes. So I'm going to take that in my waterline and my tight line of my eye just to give some definition, ensure that there's no distinction between my eyelid and like the gap right here. I have mascara on and things like that. I'm just going to do that. So that just gives a little bit of a smokiness, as you can tell. I'm gonna then curl my lashes, and I'm going to dinner tonight, but I'm not doing anything fancy, so I'm just gonna do mascara. Sometimes I'll do lashes, but it honestly just depends on what I'm feeling. Since this is a summer glam look, but it's not like a night out glam, I'm just gonna do mascara today. I love the Essence Lash Princess mascaras. This one is the Curl and Volume, which I really like, and then I also like the waterproof on my lower lashes because it doesn't smudge and it'll last, but I don't like putting waterproof on my upper lashes because it's really hard to get off. So today I'm going to use the Lash Sensational by Maybelline on my upper, and then I'm going to use the Lash Princess on my lower lashes. The Lash Sensational has this curved wand, and I find that it really separates my lashes and lengthens them. I have pretty long lashes to begin with, but they're not very thick, so I like mascaras that do both, give volume and length. And I also like the separation factor that this mascara gives because I don't like clumpiness, but I like them to look coated and nice and voluminous. That's the final upper lashes. I'm gonna pop on my waterproof on the lower real quick, and I just do a little bit. I don't do a ton on the lower lashes. I'm feeling a little more blush, so I'm gonna pop on a little more of that Glossier Cloud Paint on my cheek. And again, I don't powder in this area, so it's okay. I literally don't know what I would do without blush. I'm in love with it. For lips, I'm going to go in with kind of this pinky brown nude from ColourPop. It is called Brink. I don't know if I want to do a bullet lipstick and a gloss or just a gloss, but I'm going to go ahead and pop this on my lips real quick. And then I have been loving just the natural look of doing a liner and then topping it off with a gloss or a lip oil. I'm going to use the Buxom Plumping Gloss. This one's in Hot Toddy, and it's just going to give me kind of more definition because it's plumping. Finally, since I don't use a powder all over my face, I still want something to set it in place, so I'm going to use the NYX Bear With Me setting spray. I love this one. I also love the Milk Hydro Grip one. It keeps my makeup on, hydrates my face a little bit, and this one's cheap, so I really like it.
From another lover, you're my picture perfectly. Still haven't met your parents, but we hang with your